Thank you so much for being part of our podcast. A lot going on.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. So listen, what are you? Which part of the world are you in?
I'm in Miami.
You're in Miami, Florida.
I'm
Okay.
in Miami, Florida. I was in Texas last week. It was hard to get home, but I got home. So now I'm here.
Get out of here. What were you doing in Texas? Oh, just home.
I was at a security token conference.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah,
But let's
we'll talk about that
start.
in a
Let's
little bit.
tell us a little bit about you, right? Tell us.
Sure.
Last time I saw you, it was Emerge Americas. But now we're on a podcast,
That's right.
live podcast. So you saw how simple it was? Just with a link, you start a podcast and we're live streaming.
Yes, although I can't get my phone to behave. But here we go. All right. There it is.
There you go. So tell us a little bit about you, Mike, for people that don't know you.
So first of all, I moved to Miami 8 years ago from New York City. So I beat the rush. And it's been exciting in the past year or two to see Miami turn into like a tech hub, a blockchain hub.
Crazy?
It's great.
But why did you choose Miami? Why did you choose Miami?
Actually, my wife chose Miami. She got a job transfer offer down here. And I was between startups. My last startup had just been acquired. So I wasn't really doing anything. And she asked unattached. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And we have loved it. We've been here 8 years and we love it here. It was a smart choice.
Smart choice. Miami is, and what are you doing now? So why don't you tell everybody exactly what you're doing now?
So I do a lot of work in the blockchain space with startups, and I found a blockchain startup that I really love that does security tokens, this is going to break your mind. If you take blockchain, which is normally used to live outside the rules, and you say, look, we're going to agree that we're creating securities and we're going to follow all the regulations, you actually unlock this whole world of security tokens, which are actual securities that trade on the blockchain. And it's actually, we think it's a bigger opportunity than crypto by at least 100x.
Oh, wow. Listen, there was a fundraise that just happened as well where you were involved,
Yes.
the $3 million fundraise. And tell us a little bit about that.
So that's for this startup. In my spare time, I help startups with their financials. So I've done like a ton of work with a ton of different startups. And this one, Security Token Group, I started talking to 5 years ago, have helped them a little bit along the way, but a year ago, it really made sense to start working together. And so during that time, they launched a Series A, and I helped them. They did most of the work, but I helped them a little bit, raise $3 million, which we just announced that is what closed last week. So that's the announcement you saw. And they are in this security token space. So they do a couple different things. One of the things they do is they provide the website that you can go to, which is stmsecuritytokenmarket.co, which shows the prices of all the trading security tokens across all the exchanges. So it's similar to like if you go to a Yahoo Finance to see the price of any stock and you don't need to worry about which exchange it's on, or if you go to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko to see the prices of all the cryptos across all the exchanges. This is the same thing for security tokens.
Wow,
and then
amazing. Well, and listen,
it's pretty cool.
And congratulations. Yeah, congratulations on the fundraise.
Yes.
And what are the funds going to be used for? It's about $3 million. Miami based. Sorry, the guys from Miami
based.
The founders from Miami.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The founders they both went to University of Miami.
Amazing.
They've hired a bunch of people out of UM. UM is an amazing source of startup and tech talent. So a lot of it is hiring local people, which is terrific.
Right. Don't you feel as if there is a higher level of talent now in Miami, better than it was maybe 8 years ago? Yeah,
I do, and it's actually really great. I mean, with this startup, I think I'm twice as old as most of the people in the startup, and I've actually been really impressed by how amazingly hard everyone works, how smart they are. It's just really nice. Like right here in Miami, there is amazing talent, and they just keep showing up, and we're hiring more and more people here.
I think what
Great.
was happening before is that people left, right? You
Yes.
graduated from this
Yes. Correct.
real jobs or the big jobs where, East Coast,
Somewhere
Northeast,
else.
or you have to go to California. Where now
Yeah.
is who cares where you are, but there's the talent is staying, which is gonna
Correct.
help a lot.
And
For
we're finding a ton of great talent here. So thank you, Miami.
amazing.
Thank you, University
Yes.
of Miami.
Listen, and one other topic that I wanted to touch on, obviously crypto is being hit really hard right now.
Yes.
What's your feeling? Is it coming back, and
I think
why?
eventually. I mean, I think with crypto, there's too much going on for it to go away, right? Especially if you look at the big, like the heavy hitters, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I'm a Solana maxi. So I believe that all this stuff will keep getting used. I believe that the usage will grow. I also believe that in tech, you go through these periods where everyone's like, the world's falling apart, right? But
Right. Yeah.
we
We don't need
see time
Netflix
and time again that
anymore.
this stuff
What?
comes back.
Yeah.
It comes back.
Comes back.
Also,
Comes back.
because you're dealing with unregulated markets, like people's crazy science experiments go wrong, and we just watched $60 billion plus of value evaporate in the crypto market basically overnight with the Luna Terra stablecoin
Exactly.
experiment. Right? Between those two tokens, you had $60 billion worth of value that went to zero, plus all the projects that were building on the Terra ecosystem. A lot of those have been hit pretty hard. So that's a massive failure,
Yeah.
right? Right at the moment when we're raising interest rates and the market was getting hit anyway, right? So it's just, I don't know. It's a rough time, but that also brings me back to security tokens, right? These things have crypto doesn't have an underlying asset. So when I'm buying Ethereum, I'm not buying a share of the Ethereum corporation, right? And so it's hard to know what the price should be. I mean, we can kind of figure it out from usage, but there's no underlying asset. Whereas in the security token world, so again, we're taking all the good of blockchain, but we're deciding to follow the securities regulations. There are underlying assets. So we actually own a share of something, or we own a cash flow. It's like it could be a bond, it could be a title to an asset,
Yeah. There's
real
something
estate.
attached to it. Yeah. There's
There's something
something
attached to
real
it.
attached.
So it's harder for it to drop 60% because there's something real there, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
obviously, in the stock market, we have crazy drops sometimes, but it's easier to value the assets when there's an underlying asset there, which is my
Yeah.
world
Online
in
business.
security
Yeah.
tokens, and part of the reason I like it.
What about
So,
NFTs? Have you seen, and did you get into NFTs? Did you
yes,
buy
I
any?
have gotten,
Yes.
yeah, I own so many NFTs.
Oh wow.
And they're kind of like baby securities. I think what I like about them is it's one owner, one asset. So there is an underlying asset. Now that asset may be a picture of a monkey, but it is an asset, right?
Right.
Um, and I think there is some really cool innovation happening because they're acting as membership clubs now, right? So not only do you own the NFT, but you're part of a community, and a lot of times that comes with benefits. So those benefits could be monetary, like the owners of the Bored Ape got dropped very valuable land a couple weeks ago that broke the Ethereum blockchain during the mint, right? Or it could be I now have some NFTs that are essentially lifetime subscriptions to SaaS software, right? So they give me software tools that I can only access through the NFT. So we're seeing lots of and some of this stuff is starting to come in real life. Like I was looking at one NFT project here in Miami that's building out a physical space. So the NFT will get you access to the physical space.
Interesting. Yeah, you attach it to
Yeah,
a physical good, right?
correct.
But you have a digital contract. So basically, they act as
Yep,
digital contracts, which is what they
digital
are.
contracts. Correct. So
That's
there's
exactly.
some really cool, innovative stuff happening.
Wow.
That again, I don't think that's going away just because the price of crypto is down this month.
Yeah. Probably unrelated, maybe. But NFT
Yeah.
technology. So in a statement, as a statement, first of all, Instagram and all these other big giants are going to start making NFTs. NFTs are going to be like social media in the next years. Everybody's going to have or create some at an
I think
enterprise
so.
level. Who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah, amazing.
I mean, you're seeing
Okay, so
enterprises get in. You're seeing enterprises get into NFTs at various levels, right? So one of the most successful NFTs companies last year was Artifact, RTFKT. They started dropping sneakers at the beginning of last year, did a bunch of really good partnerships. Then at the end of the year, they had like all of their sneaker NFTs were selling for like $50,000 plus, and they dropped characters. So they dropped, profile picture characters called CloneX right at the end of the year. And on that same day, Nike bought them, right? Because they're a sneaker company. And then they just dropped a project with Nike a couple weeks ago. So and I think Nike bought them for like $200 million. They're a pure NFT play, right? So you're seeing some established players get into NFTs in a pretty substantial way right now today.
And I think it's interesting, traditional institutions are trying to figure out how to get into that space. And here it is, a clear acquisition. We work with a lot of media companies that traditional, some people call them dinosaurs. I don't, but some people do that. And they're trying to see that how do I get into that space? And but that's something that definitely is going to come, right? Whoever has that solutions, whoever's going to bring that solutions is going to help them into that transition into this NFT transition. So next question. So the startup community in Miami, you mentioned at the beginning, it's growing. Is the money coming into Miami? Is it going to Miami companies, or is it going to companies that are relocating in Miami?
So a little bit of both, and I have yet to find a fund that's able to do all of its investments in Miami, right? So there is definitely more money than there was. There is more money in Miami. There's also money outside of Miami that's willing to invest in Miami, which is new. But I have yet to find a fund that's able to do the entire fund in Miami, right? Now, some funds, like Florida Funders, is limited to Florida, but a lot of the funds that are based here, like the Keith Rabois Founders Fund, and the Jack Abraham Atomic, like the real players, right? They're investing also outside of Florida, right. No question, in order to fill the fund.
Interesting.
That is,
interesting. Yep.
It's better than it was, right? And you are seeing some pretty big funding rounds in Miami, like QuickNode. They did, I forget what it was, like 3 million or 5 million with SoftBank. And then a few months later, it turned into a 70 million with Tiger and SoftBank, so like there are real funding rounds happening here now. And I think that's really what we should be focused on.
But Papa was one of them, right? Papa was really impressive, right?
Yeah.
Papa
got 60 million. Yeah. I guess it was 60 and then another giant round. So like those companies are staying here in Miami, staying in South Florida, and they're getting real funding rounds. So that's new and exciting. And to your point, they aren't leaving, right? It used to be if you got a $60 million round, you were moving to California, but now those companies are staying here and building here, which I think is amazing for us.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So we're gonna jump into the side of the podcast, the video podcast, where I'm gonna say 10 words, right? And you have to say the first thing that comes to your mind. So it's not political, but you can say anything you want, right? It's not political. It's not political. Ready? So if I say the word Netflix, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Streaming. Stranger Things premiere this Friday. Stranger Things premiere this Friday.
I was at a conference a few weeks ago, which is the media conference in Vegas, and there was a CEO of a company that said, "We know streaming today as Netflix, but the future of streaming is user-generated content." And I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, we believe that very much. That's interesting that you mentioned that.
TikTok,
so Netflix streaming, that's exactly. Well, it's TikTok and TikTok, even Snapchat, which I think Snapchat at some point is going to take over. completely. They have so much more technology
Is it? I haven't
inside of
heard
their.
anyone talk about Snapchat. I was just having this
Oh,
conversation with someone like 2 days ago. Neither of us had heard anyone talk about Snapchat in like 2 years.
well, we don't, but the generation I is all over it, and that's the only thing that they use, right?
I'm in a room
So
surrounded by the Generation I, and none of them has mentioned,
really, no, no, no.
yeah,
Well, so they
Snap.
keep growing. Their revenue keeps growing like crazy.
Okay,
They're the most technological, advanced social media platform right now, and actually
okay.
TikTok is trying to be more like them, which is
My
super
biggest
interesting
complaint
as
about
well.
TikTok is that they're sending biometric data of US citizens to China.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
it's scary.
I want my social media to not do that.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be tough. Everybody's so hooked on it. But anyway, that transition
Yeah,
is gonna happen at some point. So we said Netflix. I'm gonna say Tesla.
Tesla. Confusion.
Really?
Just Elon Musk
Okay.
cannot afford to buy Twitter, nor does he actually want to buy Twitter anymore. And it's like it's messed up the Tesla stock.
Easily,
And
because you have to sell the shares.
it needs to, like, I don't know. I don't know why he has trouble focusing. He could do so much good for the human race if he just focused.
That's just
Uh, that being said, my wife
okay.
did buy a Tesla, and it is the electronics on that car, the experience of that car is one of the greatest cars I've ever driven in my life. The customer service is abysmal, but the actual car is spectacular. So, highly recommend the car. Not sure about the stock, not sure about the customer service.
So somebody said to me, Tesla is not a car company; it's a data company. So
Sure, but they
I
make
think that's
cars.
interesting.
Like, you still have, someone still has to buy and drive the cars. I
But
agree
they're
with you. There's a
learning.
lot
They're
of
learning.
data, but there are
There's a lot of
cars.
data.
Yeah.
Next word, Johnny Depp.
Also confusion. I think, yeah, confusion.
There's
He
so
lost
much of it
focus
on
on what he
social
was good
media,
at.
no?
And he
But
also, just to bring it full circle, he did drop an NFT collection a couple months ago. I don't know if you saw
no
that.
way. No, I
Yeah, you
didn't.
can go look it
I'm
up
gonna
on
look it up.
OpenSea, the Johnny Depp NFT collection.
Amazing. Well, I guess through the stuff that we're finding out,
Yeah,
I didn't know that he was a painter or an artist as well.
that was part of his
Um,
NFT collection. Was the painting he?
yeah, yeah.
It was like his paintings.
Interesting. I'm gonna look it up. So the
Yeah.
next one is augmented reality.
Uh, Not quite ready. We're so close, but and I actually like augmented reality more than I like virtual reality. So taking real life and overlaying virtual stuff on top of it for augmented reality, I think that is the future. It's just not like
That's
nothing
Snapchat.
I've seen has gotten me using it. And Snapchat is a great example of it. And Snapchat,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree, they have really done it well. I think the entire world is ready for the thing that makes us convert permanently. We keep having glimpses of it, like the
yeah,
Pokemon
yeah.
game that dropped like 3 years ago. I think was a
But then
glimpse.
disappeared. It's not strange. I
Right,
thought
that's
we
what
were
I'm
gonna have
saying.
more
Like,
and more. Yeah, yeah,
right, like nothing has stuck. Right, so
yeah,
something will stick, but we haven't hit that. We haven't hit it yet. Maybe it's
yeah.
Snapchat. Maybe you're right.
Maybe it is. It's interesting. At Snapchat, you're not allowed to talk about the metaverse. Did you know that? I don't know if you knew that. So we'll
I
talk about it.
didn't
So
know that.
the next word is
Okay.
metaverse.
Uh,
What do
Also
you
not
think?
ready. Not
Yeah.
ready. Not ready.
Why is
I
Mark
think
pushing it like crazy?
we will all end up there, right? Like, and we already, again, we have glimpses, right? We all essentially live in a two-dimensional version of the metaverse, which is all the websites
Yeah.
that we're staring at all day long. The three-dimensional version, I think, is a ways off. And again, the stuff I've played with and the demos I've seen are not sticky, at least not to me or anyone I know, the way that it really needs to be for us to all start living in the 3D reality. I do want to hear more about Snapchat banning the word metaverse.
This is true. That's what he says. Nobody can use it in the office. But I do see something that I don't know why hasn't picked up yet. I think movie theaters should be all about virtual reality. That experience needs to go to that next level. No, that 360 experience in a movie theater. I
I
think that will
think
make it so much.
so.
I will pay more for a ticket if I'm watching a movie in VR than just a regular screen.
Yeah, but
I
won't that
think
come
we're
to your
missing
home
out.
first before it comes to the theater? Like the equipment.
Well, it's up to them, right? Are they gonna
Yeah, it's just
whatever they're gonna do? Yeah.
I don't know. As a guy
They
who
can do
who
the same
does
thing with movies.
as a guy who does startup financial projections, the cash flow on adding a bunch of hardware that you have to like buy and sanitize and it breaks
Okay,
and
okay,
like
all right, all right.
I don't know. It's
You're
just
looking
you're
at
adding a bunch of
cogs. I get
expense to a
it.
business
Yeah, yeah.
that's like the movie
That
business is
doesn't need it.
essentially very low
Yeah,
margin right now.
yeah.
But I think like the
Interesting.
experiments like last year, so last year every new movie was delivered to your home instead of to the theater. That would have been the perfect moment to experiment with like let's deliver it in VR, right? And see does that get people with VR helmets watching it? Like I don't know. There's a lot of room for experimentation, I think, at home
Helmets.
with that equipment.
Yeah.
Whatever. I hear the
Okay,
Oculus 2 is
metaverse.
excellent.
Yeah, did you try it? Yeah, that's great. So metaverse is too far away. Mark Zuckerberg says 5 to 6 years away as well.
Yeah.
But that's all he talks about. COVID. Next word is COVID. First thing that
I
comes to your
can't
mind.
tell. I don't know. I feel like it should be over, but it's not. And actually, just like in the past 2 weeks, a couple of people I
Did you
know
see
have
that?
got it. So
Everybody,
it's still
yeah,
here. It's
everybody's
still
getting
here.
it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was with one of our
It's back.
investors, and she said Hong Kong is completely shut down. Nobody can be on the
Yeah.
streets.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I
so
can't
it's
believe we're
not.
back to that. Like I had hoped as a society we would move on from the lockdown. I mean, I flew last week and no one on the plane or in the airport was
It's
wearing a
very nice.
mask,
Yeah,
but people are catching it. So I don't even know anymore. I don't know what to say.
yeah. The next word is Russia.
Uh, Changing, evolving.
Hmm.
Uh, the latest I heard was that Putin had fired all his generals and was now personally trying to direct the military units.
That's
That
scary.
that seems like the beginning of the end to me. I mean, I don't know a lot
Yeah,
about organizing the military, but it seems like if you're the leader of the country and you're getting your hands
you
dirty
can
moving
count
military units
people.
around,
Yeah,
like that's not a good it's not a
yeah.
good spot to be in.
Interesting, evolving. So
I
we
think
talked
change is
about
coming there.
TikTok. TikTok. So
Yeah.
what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
The China connection just freaks me out, man.
Yeah,
The biometric data sent to China, I am not I am not down. I
yeah.
don't like that
It is
aspect of it.
space.
Uh, I went, so Atomic is a VC fund that moved here from San Francisco. And I went and saw one of their partners talk who's doing a lot of work on space tech. And it's pretty cool. Like, I don't know. I think I'm excited to have more stuff happening in space. I think there is so much promise there. And I'm really excited to see what the human race is capable of, including like I was reading like the Voyager out there 40 years later, sending back data from like way out in the
Wow.
galaxy. So like, I don't know. I'm optimistic and excited about space. I think we're at the beginning of some very cool stuff.
Amazing. I mean, would you ever go to the moon? If you could you go? Would you go to the moon? To the moon?
I might, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it. It kind of freaks me out, but like it would be an amazing life experience, right?
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last word before we let you go is what we talked about a little bit, but it's Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
So I have just started getting more and more into Twitter. Um, and
Well, since
I
the
don't know.
Elon tried to buy it,
No,
or
no,
before?
before that. I was starting to use it
Okay.
before that. I uh
For news, or
I
you were posting?
a little bit of both. Like it's a great way to find things out.
Right.
It's a
Right.
great way to also get confused. It's a great way to
Hmm.
also see a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense. But there's a lot going on there, and I've become more and more excited about Twitter. LinkedIn has been my LinkedIn and YouTube have been my social media uh, like creation channels of choice. but I'm starting to layer in Twitter as well. So I like it, and I'm spending more time on it.
Amazing. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, Mike, where can they find you? Probably on LinkedIn, but otherwise,
Yeah,
where
LinkedIn.
else?
Find me on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. At any Miami tech event, I'm usually around. Like you and I ran into each other at Emerge. I like going out and seeing people in the Miami community, which is growing bigger and bigger and bigger.
Amazing. Amazing.
Come to stm.co and see the price of the trading security tokens. I think that's the next big thing. And if you need your startup financials, come to rocketproforma.com. I also help startups with their financial projection.
Fantastic. Well,
Web
listen,
2
thank you
and
so
Web
much
3,
for
I'm equal opportunity.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you so much for being on our podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Experience.
Do I
Bye
get
for
to ask you a
now.
word next time?
You good. Bye. Bye,
Web
guys.
3.
Web3. Ciao.